heart of high school wrestling is here in Adams County, and nobody covers it like WZBD.
You guys got a heck of a view.
It's time for Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly.
Everybody wants to be there.
It's the coolest thing in the world.
90 minutes of interviews, results, discussions, and prognostications.
I'm excited.
As Hall of Famer Rex Brewer and Dane Filling bring you another episode.
We hope that you can join us here
Live from
The Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill
on Channel Z.
I'm excited.
92.7 FM.
Music up there. There we go. Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for another episode of the Haggard Hershey Zelt High School Wrestling Weekly. And Dane, this is a big show for a lot of folks out there that want to see where they're going to fall into the draws for the team state that's going to happen this weekend. And it's always a great show. Like you said, some people think they know where they're going to be, and other people just tune in tonight to see where they're going to fall into the mix.
Yeah, lots to discuss, and a lot of work has gone into trying to get these seeds as accurate as possible. And I don't know if we're into disclaimer time yet. Maybe we'll talk about that in a little bit. But that is a quick reminder that seedings are not necessarily predictions, and we'll talk about that a little bit. I know Joe just went through, he's got a few less gray hairs on his head after a contentious 32-team seeding meeting. But Joe, we talked about this on our live broadcast while you were down with Mike on the table. You guys did a pretty good job. Those seeds held pretty darn true, and a couple of the seeds that were upsets were probably ones where you might have wanted to put them higher, but you knew that this is eventually where they were going to fall.
The rankings held up better than the seeds for the most part from everything we saw. Like if there was an upset, Cash Mays was a 6 seed, but he was the second highest wrestler. He came out of the bottom half of the bracket. I remember that there's some other ones. There are obviously some upsets, but mostly the seeds held pretty well, and the rankings held just a little bit better. If there were seed upsets, it was usually a higher ranked kid winning those matches. So Mike kind of knows what he's doing. So we're going to keep him employed for at least another couple years.
Another couple weeks at least.
Yes.
Well, once again, another shout out to the Belmont Placers at the Al Smith, Xavier Palacios wrestling in the finals. It was good to see Belmont represented there, and he wrestled really well. A great tournament for Henry Farrote, who finished his third. A really key victory for Sam Wolpert in the blood round and in the 7th place match. And a big accomplishment. That was a very talented heavyweight group at 285 at the Al Smith. So shout out to Grady Baker there. We want to give further shout outs today at the beginning of our show to our sectional champions on the girls' side of things. We were at Muncie Central on Friday. Rex had the call for that. WZBD was the only radio station covering a girls' sectional
In the whole state?
I had to reach out to the IHSAA and say, hey, you guys never sent out a way for radio stations to pay for their coverage of the girls' wrestling sectional. They said that's because nobody's going to cover it. I said, well, we are. And so I actually had to we would have gotten away. I hope the boss isn't listening. We would have gotten away with covering it and never paying it because no one else. So once again, WZBD proud to be carrying that torch forward. So shout outs to Hamilton Southeastern. You had perhaps the most competitive sectional in the entire state. Maybe not the closest margin, but
It was the largest one.
the Hamilton Southeastern to Jay County, 1st to 4th, was only a difference of 17 points. So HSC beats out Carmel, New Pal, and Jay County. Now, next week on Saturday, WZBD will have full coverage of the ticket round and the semifinals and the finals for the Muncie Central Girls Regional. And so our shout-outs go to the Frankton Eagles, who win the Shenandoah sectional, 173 points over Pendleton Heights and Alexandria. Of course, Hamilton Southeastern, who won at Muncie Central at the sectional. Then at Eastern Hancock, LC wins by 40 points over Richmond. And the Perry Meridian sectional was won by Franklin Central by a huge margin, 90 points. And that's good enough to get on this show. So, Rex, we got our first call-in guest here. If you wouldn't mind, we're going to talk to Kevin Moore of Franklin Central for a real quick bit.
And I was totally off guard here.
That's okay. His number's right there for you. And they were champions of the Perry Meridian Sectional by 88 points. Advanced 13 girls to the regional, and we'll have full coverage of their team on Saturday. So let's talk to Coach Moore now. We're dialing him up.
Hello.
Good evening. Who am I speaking with, please?
This is Kevin Moore.
This is Rex Brewer and Dane Filling with the High School Wrestling Weekly. How are you doing this evening, sir?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Welcome to the show.
Coach Dane Filling here. We're giving you a shout out for bringing home the sectional title on Friday. 13 girls advanced to the regional, and you had some really great bouts in the finals. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how the day went?
Sectional tournament's always kind of our biggest one to win because we're always trying to get that bid to go to the Dole State at the end of the year. We just spent all week preparing for those big placement rounds. Typically we do pretty well in the semis. I don't know, you know how it is with kids. The placements are always tough. Top to bottom, we did great though.
Yeah, I was looking at the brackets to prepare for the show, and I was specifically looking at the 130 bracket in the finals. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that match and your girl that won?
Oh yes, that's our sophomore, Ollie Russell. She's been on one this year. We finished last year, placed 8th, and then she was in a pretty tough spot there. She ended up getting seeded 3rd, and we were ranked 2nd at the beginning of the year. We wrestled Kylie Clark in the semis, prepared for her, went well. But that Greenwood match in the final, that was tough. She went in there with a purpose. We worked game plan all week. She went out and executed it.
Now, to give our listeners context, Allie Russell ranked 7th in the state. Tech Falls number 2, Georgia Carroll of Greenwood in the finals. And, of course, the cool thing about the state tournament is that when you lose a match in the finals at sectional, you very much are likely to come back and wrestle them potentially again in the regional. How are you going to prepare your girls for the upcoming regional this week?
We're always just one match at a time. It's the same as the boys. We look at their semi-state. Nobody ever looks past the first 2 matches. And, it just qualifying and getting to get to that match again in the finals. We got a pretty tough match in the semis, in the quarters as well, just to get there.
Well, Coach, we congratulate you on the sectional trophy, and we invite you to check out the WZBD table or booth. Were you at a table or booth, Rex? Up in the corner. Please stop by and give us an interview at some point during the day, and please make sure to tell any of your girls that qualify for state that they're welcome to come up and do an interview.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Well, congrats, Coach. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
So, Rex, just to quickly review our upcoming coverage here this week. On Tuesday, we have a doubleheader. Both of those matches are going to be on YouTube only. I'll have Homestead at Adams Central. That'll be audio only. And you and Josh are going to Yorktown for South Adams and Yorktown. And are you going to bust out the webcam for that?
We'll go video.
That'll be a lot of fun. So, and then, of course, we'll get prepared. There's no wrestling on Thursday. And we'll get prepared for our big triple cast on Saturday.
Do we need wrestling on Thursday, or is that enough for the week?
There's nobody to cover. I don't know who you want to go find.
I know. I'm going to spend a lot of miles on the road. You as well, going to Brownsburg. I just looked at Franklin community is way down there.
It sure is. Well, with that, we'll queue up our next set of advertisements. And when we come back, we're going to talk to the host of 4A and 2A, the head coach of the Brownsburg Bulldogs, Mr. Derek Snyder.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Shop local. It's a phrase we hear all the time, but for the staff and family at Package Liquors, it means something extra. Package, with locations in Decatur, Monroe, Berne, and Markle. is a local family-owned business that has been serving local communities for decades. We take your support and patronage and return it by supporting local athletes on WZBD and donating to different organizations across Adams County. The next time you're deciding where to shop, shop local. Shop at Package. It's where your friends shop.
Hello, I am Ben Leakty, native of Adams County, and just like me, First Bank of Bern takes pride in calling Adams County home. I enjoy helping individuals like you realize their dream of owning a home. With our local expertise, personalized decision-making, and unwavering support, First Bank of Bern is committing to making your mortgage loan journey easy. So if you're in search of a home loan, trust your hometown bank, the First Bank of Bern. First Bank of Bern, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Established in 2018 and owned and operated by Kirby and Chastity Harkless, 4GND stands for Four Girls and Dad, a fully licensed and insured general contractor serving the greater Decatur area. They can take care of your commercial needs from architectural engineering and design, state release, all the way to completion. They also specialize in new homes, new barns, remodels, additions, kitchens, and baths. They might not be a familiar name, but Four Girls and Dad are built on years of experience working in the architectural world and hands-on construction.
Unmute these here. We are back from our commercial, and welcome back once again to the Hager Hershey High School Wrestling Weekly. Once again, hosted by Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And Dane, I see on the schedule that we have a High School Wrestling Weekly from the Girls State Finals the week after next as well.
Yep. We'll have our show as we get ready in the final hour leading up to the opening whistle of the state finals. And, of course, that'll be at the state fairgrounds. And we had such a great time there last year. We're really looking forward to that tournament. But don't forget about our regional coverage on Saturday. Now, we'll have a triple header of coverage, and I'll be at Brownsburg, where the Bulldogs will be hosting the 4A teams and the 2A teams. And we're joined now on the phone by the head coach of the Brownsburg Bulldogs, Mr. Derek Snyder. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me. I want to give a shout out to Brian Smiley. We're actually co-head coaches this year.
Awesome. Tell us a little bit about hosting the tournament and what that's going to look like for fans who are going to be in attendance.
Yeah, 4A will basically be what we've always done in the main gym with 4 mats. And then out in the field house will be 2A. All fans, so I don't forget, enter door 10. And then, like I said, the field house will have 2A. The main gym will be 4A.
Awesome. And then I believe tickets are supposed to be purchased ahead of time. Is that correct?
Yeah, if you can. I need to actually try to remember to put on Indiana Mat what my AD sent out, but there's a ticket link. They'll take your money, I'm sure, if you go try to pay that day too, but they're asking you to purchase ahead just to try to avoid lines.
Now, of course, it wouldn't be an edition of High School Wrestling Weekly if we didn't ask you about food. Do you have anything in line as far as concessions for people who are going to be there all day?
Yeah, concessions will be open. They'll have plenty of options.
Awesome. Well, since we have you on the phone, we might as well let you know. I doubt that it's a big surprise, but you guys are also going to be the number 1 seed headed into the tournament. So congratulations on that. You've had a great start to the season.
I appreciate it. It's going to be a fun day of wrestling, a lot of really tough teams. So we always look forward to competing in duels together as a team. So we're looking forward to it, but it'll be a tough day.
Now, how do you differentiate Team State as far as how you approach it from some of the other big tournaments that you've been so far? How have you built it up to your wrestlers and to your program?
A few years ago, we kind of had a little bit of a transition. I mean, we have 2 major goals that we've always had: to win dual and IHSA state, and then when Indiana changed the travel rules, it kind of became like, what can we do, in the national rankings as a team for individuals. So going to Ironman and Carnahan, we just feel like that puts us on the national map, and it hopefully gets us ready to compete in our own state. But it's been a gauntlet the last few weeks for sure.
Yeah, and I've noticed, when was the last time you wrestled as a team on the schedule?
We wrestled the 23rd versus Garrett.
Yeah, so you guys have had a considerable amount of time off to train to get ready for Team State. Do you wrestle again this week?
We do not know.
Yeah, so you guys have time training to get ready for Saturday.
Yeah, we liked Ironman and Carnahan. We're always beat up and sick, and you're going to take a lot of losses, so we don't like to do a lot of competing leading up to dual state, just kind of trying to fix some things and get as healthy as we can before a tough day of wrestling.
Well, Coach, we wish you luck at Team State on Saturday. I'm looking forward to being there, and I'll put my plug in now. I'd like a nice seat somewhere so that I can call all the Belmont action out in the field house.
Along with Wi-Fi.
You tell me what you need, we'll make it happen. We'll have some really good people working.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, and best of luck, Coach.
All right, thank you.
That was Coach Derek Schneider of the Brownsburg Bulldogs.
And are we ready to go on revealing things? So we'll go ahead and run through the bracket from top to bottom. And so a little bit, I guess, about the seating that comes from the Coaches Association, the task that the committee was given. In 4A, the task has been to seed the top 6. And in 3A and 2A and 1A to seed the top 8. And I think we've really tried to embrace the idea of focusing the most amount of time on splitting the teams into a top 4 and then the next set of 4 and then leaving the unseeded teams go. And so I think rather than haggle over the 3 seed and the 4 seed, we've tried to make sure that the top 4 teams, in our opinion, are the ones that have the best chance to make the semifinals, and then to give those protected seeds of 5, 6, 7, and 8, basically, the opportunity to get into the quarterfinals. So that's kind of the way that we've approached it. So, anyways, without further ado, Brownsburg in their opening match will be taking on Noblesville. We, of course, have had some great conversations weeks, and they are a program that's really, really excited to be in the Team State tournament for, I believe, the first time. And then as we go further down the bracket, then the 4 and the 5 matchup will feature the 2 teams who choose to wrestle in 4A, and that is Cathedral and Evansville Mater Dei. And I know I heard, I don't remember if Mike posted it on Indiana Matt or if he sent it to me personally, but he just made the comment that selfishly he wants to see Cathedral wrestle Mater Dei solely because of the individual matchups, because of the history, all of those types of things. So Center Grove will be the 3 seed. On the bottom half of the bracket, they'll take on Westfield, the 6 seed, and then Crown Point, coming off of their title at the Al Smith, will take on Avon. What jumps out to you there, Joe, on the 4A bracket?
Just lots of good matchups. You got Cathedral, Mater Dei. That's 2 classic programs. They always are ready to scrap. Center Grove, Westfield should be a good one. They had some matchups this past weekend. Avon, Crown Point. Avon was at the Carnahan a couple weeks ago, and I think there's going to be some good matches in there, some highly ranked matches, and whether the score might be a little bit lopsided or not, some of those matches are going to have some really big individual matches that are going to be rankings worthy and stuff that we like to watch and see all the great matches all around, all that first round.
Of course, last year it was Brownsburg winning in the final by a pretty considerable margin. Center Grove ended up finishing in 3rd place, Center Grove in 2nd, Crown Point in 3rd, and Mater Dei in 4th. Avon were 5th, and Homestead won that 7th place match against Cathedral for 7th place in 4A. So, yeah, an interesting set. Once again, I think there was a clear top 4, and there was a lot of discussion on Indiana Matt over the last couple, I would say 24 hours, discussing where they thought that the top 4 would go. I think in the end, we're going to have 2 great semifinals, and that's what it's all about. Brownsburg, I think, obviously the favorite in this tournament, but a lot of people have become Mater Dei believers over the last, I'd say, 6 weeks. And some of the scores in the last 2 weeks have really made some people question, actually, maybe we should stop talking about the big 3 and give chance of for Mater Dei to jump back in there in the conversation.
Yeah, it's going to be – that semifinal is going to be really good. Mater Dei hasn't seen a lot of these teams. They saw Avon early in December, and that's about all they've seen. So it's going to be interesting seeing how them against Cathedral. Cathedral is really good down low. They have some pretty good guys up top, and some other good guys mixed in the middle. So that could be a real good matchup. I haven't looked at it in depth, but there should be some really good matches in there, and it's going to be interesting seeing that first round match. And then obviously the semifinals, you got 4 or 5 great teams in there. It's going to be some really good duels and a lot of great action.
So once again, the 4A tournament will be held on 4 mats in the main gym at Brownsburg, and the 4A bracket looks different from the other 3 classes, and so it will have a little bit different schedule. But I guarantee you there are going to be some 2A people who decide to make their way over to the main gym and check out some of those duels, especially when their team's on a bye, Rex.
Dane, I need to put a shout out here. Dane Filling's been doing some work. I just looked at the list of commercials for our advertisers. I see a lot of new names on there. A lot of new people have jumped on board and said, I want to be part of High School Wrestling Weekly. We appreciate those as I see these new names pop up here.
We have some new advertisers who specifically reached out and said, hey, I'd really like to advertise during Team State. And so I basically offered them a package of jumping on the show this Sunday and then the broadcast next Saturday and the following Sunday. So we definitely appreciate those local sponsors who recognize just how important Team State is. So it's about time to bring on our good friend Josh Gaskell, who's going to be joining you at Franklin. He's finishing up his did he get the cowboy burger? Rodeo burger? What was it?
I think he got the rodeo burger. We'll see when he gets over here. I know his wife went off script, and she took like a double cheeseburger with bacon. And his good buddy Nathan Wynn took the rodeo burger tonight.
Josh, what jumps out to you about the 4A bracket? Any comments there?
Cathedral, Evansville, Mater Dei. That's going to be a good one. I think a lot of people are sleeping on Mater Dei. You've got your big 3, but it's different at the higher level. You got some high end. You're going to have a lot of state champs going, bumping around maybe to get a team title or to even get into the finals, semifinals. So it's fun. It's different than any other, 3A, 2A, and 1A. 4A is just a different beast, and so it's going to be fun to see that shake out. Like we said, Brownsburg maybe is the favorite, but watching Al Smith this weekend, Center Grove's really deep, and so can you get a guy that's a JV guy that can knock off a state placer? And you can make things interesting like that. So it'll be fun to watch.
Now, one thing that I thought that you might want to comment on is you've been on the committee the last couple of years and helped us out this year. There's a lot less head-to-heads and commons amongst these 4A teams than there used to be. You heard Coach Snyder talk about the fact that the change in the travel rules in the IHSAA has spread out the available pool of tournaments and duels and all of those types of things. And in my opinion, it's become harder to seed 4A for that reason.
Yeah, you go off of, the couple tournaments that, who wins Al Smith, and that kind of puts you ahead against some of the teams. But with the travel rules, you get some of the teams like Mater Dei's wrestling tough teams from Kentucky. Teams are traveling, and so you don't get those head-to-head duels, but they don't take away. You still see the results. When guys are going to the Ironman and they're a top 3 team, that means they're pretty tough in the nation, not alone the state of Indiana. So, 4A is going to be a blast to watch.
Yeah, certainly. At least from my perspective as sort of spearheading the committee, there's been a lot of writing down the lineups for all 4 teams and pitting them against each other because there haven't been a whole lot of head-to-heads. Obviously, Brownsburg and Crown Point met a couple times. Mater Dei's been off gallivanting through Appalachia and all over the place. But you do learn something from those. It's just hard to find some context when all of the opponents are from Kentucky or Tennessee or Ohio or Illinois.
Yeah, and it's fun. A lot of people think we just look at maybe some of the results. We do a lot of duels in our head, which is kind of exhausting. But then you're looking at like a college-style duel. Like, where can one of these teams pick up 2 extra bonus points? And you're like finding it, and you're like, well, it could be there, it could be here. And so we run a lot of duels on my phone, my notes, and it gets exhausting. But that's what we do, so we can get the best tournament and the teams in the right spot.
Well, we're looking forward to revealing the brackets for 3A, 2A, and 1A coming up. We'll queue up that next set of commercials, and when we come back, we'll talk to the man himself, Coach Jim Tante, and the host of the 3A tournament right after this.
renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season. For some of us, summer is the busiest time of year, and we don't always have the time to get the yard looking just the way we like it. That's where Archbold Landscaping comes in. Working hard and growing his business in Adams and surrounding counties, Dan Archbold can take care of all of your mowing and landscaping needs. It doesn't matter if you're in town or out in the country. Dan and his team can mow while you're away, or they can lay down your mulch while you're at work. Interested in pouring a new patio? Check out some of the work Dan has done in recent months and send him an email or a message about what you have in mind. Allow Archbold Landscaping to go to work for you. Wrestling season in Indiana is all about grit, discipline, and heart. And when it's time to celebrate a hard-fought win, Kids Zone Party Rentals in the Indy area has your back. They're proud sponsors of Noblesville, Westfield, and Fishers Wrestling, and proud supporters of Indiana student athletes. From birthday parties and team celebrations to school events, Kids Zone Party Rentals brings the fun with bounce houses, inflatable games, and unforgettable experiences. Celebrate like a champion. Kids Zone Party Rentals. Locally owned, family-focused, and proud to support Indiana wrestling. Book today at KidsZonePartyRentals.com.
Welcome back once again to the Hager Hershey Zeld High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted by the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. And tonight the special was the rodeo burger, and it was fantastic. I saved a little bit for my lunch tomorrow, but we're joined on the phone now by the coach of the Franklin Central Bear Cubs, Mr. Jim Tante. How you doing?
Franklin Community.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Franklin.
Close enough.
I refereed at Franklin County some years.
He did. He gets some. We just talked to Franklin Central's head coach, so we'll give him a break. Well, Coach, we had Derek Snyder on the phone earlier for the 4A as the host. So we definitely want to give.
How do I follow that act?
I know that's tough to do for sure. We thought we'd give you the floor just to talk a little bit about how Franklin are approaching being the hosts once again, and anything special that fans should know, because we got a lot of people from Adams County coming to check out the 1A action.
Yeah, I know. Whether you have 2 or 3 teams from Adams County, what do you have represented?
2,
at least 2, right?
2 coming to 1A. Yep.
Yeah. So it's hopefully our facility will, give everybody a great opportunity to see and love the atmosphere. It's going to be really a tight fit, I'll be honest, but we're going to do the best we can, and we look forward to having everybody there, and really proud of our program for stepping up and hosting, 2 classes like this.
You got 2 seats available for Josh Gaskin and I to set up and broadcast the action, don't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Now, Coach,
we got the suite.
Will 1A be in the field house again?
So I believe, honestly, we just had the meeting, and I thought 1A was going to be in the main gym, and 3A will be in the field house. But I will be honest, that could flip-flop in the next couple days. Okay, well, just let us know. If you need Adams County fans to reserve some seats and some tickets, we can show you how many people will be there.
Not that it matters to you, Jim, but in the field house is not the best way to broadcast for us. So if you put 1A in the main gym, we'd just be really happy with you.
I'll be honest with you. We were talking about 1A in the main gym, and really because the following that those kids have.
Great.
Yeah, it's definitely been that way in years past. I know I was the one. Josh and I were there broadcasting the last time you guys hosted, and it was interesting over in the field house. Now, the one big change is we do have a few less mats. It's a little bit more spread out schedule, so that should help people and able to be able to see.
Sure, absolutely.
Well, Coach, while we have you on the phone, we're going to go ahead and do our 3A bracket reveal, and there's no doubt you guys have earned the number 1 seed. So congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I feel like the kids have earned it, and that's just one obstacle to overcome. Many more in front of us.
Well, Coach, obviously you've been putting in a lot of work as the host. How have you approached this as the coach and getting your guys hyped up and ready to win a 3A state title?
We haven't changed anything we've ever done. Everything's always the same as far as our approach. We're trying to approach every day, every second, every minute to be the best you can be on the mat. It may not be about winning a state title. It's just about being the best that you can be.
Well, I like that answer. We're looking forward to seeing what you guys can do. And 3A has been a whole lot of fun ever since the Coaches Association added it, and it's always a barn burner from top to bottom.
Hey Jim, turn your laptop down in the background. We're getting double feature here.
Coach, I'm sorry. I was just trying to look at the bracket.
We haven't gotten there yet. You want to find out who it is? We were going to say goodbye to you and then reveal it.
Well, you can do whatever you want to do. I think you guys, you can keep me on the line. You cannot keep me on the line. It's not going to matter how we wrestle.
Well, we look forward to seeing you on Saturday. Make sure that you have plenty of food because Rex likes that hospitality room.
All right, we got to take care of Rex. We know that.
Okay, Coach. We'll see you on Saturday.
All right, take care, guys.
Oh, poor guy. I think he wanted us to keep him on.
It sounded like Steve Rouse trying to talk to people on radio auction when people have their radio in the background. It's like, I'd like a 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4, 4. Got the feedback from the radio in the background.
All right, so Joe, you ready to go on 3A? We're going to go top to bottom once again. And so a reminder that the teams who are seated in the top 4 will receive a bye in the first round. And so then the teams seated 5 through 8 and the unseeded teams will wrestle in the first round. The winners then will meet in 4 different quarterfinals, and that'll be round 2. So the losers of the first round will sit the second round out as they get ready for their consolation round matches. So Franklin will take on the winner of Munster and Decatur Central. And we got some 3A newbies in there and some teams who have come up with some big performances at the beginning of the year to get themselves in contention. We've talked to the coaches here in the last couple of weeks on our show, and just really excited to see what they're going to be able to add to that group. Decatur Central had a big win over Plainfield earlier in the year, 37-31. That made a big difference in the seeding, and obviously Munster, I believe, if I can remember right, only have a loss or two and have wrestled really, really well. And that is a program on the rise up north. Then after that, it will be number 5, Roncalli, taking on the Hobart Brickies. And we had a text from Zach Johansson. He likes the hat that Rex is wearing. And then the winner of that one will take on the Lowell Red Devils. And that is a loaded quarter bracket with lots of history between those schools in recent times as well. Now, last year, it was Lowell who was the number 1 seed, and they got knocked off by the Hobart Brickies as the 8th seed. Hobart made it all the way to the finals and then lost to Roncalli in a barn burner, 38-34. And then you look at this quarter bracket, and you've got Roncalli, Hobart, and Lowell all together in the first 2 rounds. As we go further down the bracket, then Bloomington South comes in as the number 3 seed. I had a lot of Belmont people who really don't care that much about 3A team state, to be real honest with you, come up to me over the 2 days of the Al Smith and say, man, the Bloomington South team is really, really good. And they were good top to bottom. And so they definitely had a good showing at Mishawaka. They'll take on the winners of New Haven and Floyd Central. So that's an interesting duel because I don't know how many times those 2 schools have ever wrestled each other from opposite ends of the state. And Rex, don't let me forget before you guys leave, I've got a book to return to Coach Sisson. And if I don't remember, I'll have to hold on to it for another year as he lent it to me. And I've been lending it to all my my baseball buddies around here. So Coach Sisson, that book's finally making its way back to you. Then at the bottom of the bracket in the final quarter, it'll be New Pal taking on Plainfield. And the winner will take on Columbus East in the quarterfinals. Did I miss anything there, boys?
Looks good.
What's your what are your thoughts? That was a Bears interception, by the way, if you were wondering what that applause was for.
I think that 3A team race is just, I don't know. It's a toss. I mean, like you said, last year, number 8 took out number 1. And
it,
that wasn't a poor job of seeding. That's just some team
and
really
it just
wrestling
ruined
well.
my day, if I remember right. To be real honest with you, it ruined my day. Sorry, Coach Johansson. I've got my Hobart Belichick that I wear all the time at home. But that one ruined my day because I don't like it when the 8 seed beats the number 1 seed. It makes us look bad.
Well, that just means that somebody wrestled out there behind end. That's all that means.
Well, there's just so much parity in 3A. You and I have talked about this before. It's just it speaks a little bit to what I was talking about earlier with seeding, trying to figure out who the top 4 are and then put them out there, and then the next 4, and then let them wrestle.
Yep. Yeah, just listening to Tante, his enthusiasm. It's about getting your guys to wrestle. A state title is great, but ultimately you want to walk away saying, hey, we wrestled our best. And if that includes a state title, that includes a state title. But it's going to be tough. Columbus East is really good. I was really high on Lowell last year. They've got something to maybe prove coming into this tournament. They've got a lot of hammers, at some key weights. Can they juggle around and make a push for a state title? We said they were the favorite last year. They're kind of my outside looking in. There'd be maybe not a Cinderella team, but a team that, is a dark horse in my mind. They've got a lot of talent, but it's got to show up and wrestle. You got to wrestle your best. And so
we saw a lot of guys in the semis on up from Lowell this Saturday.
And I think for Franklin, it's just been one of those cases where they've just been on an absolute tear. They started low in my rankings. The professor texted me early on in the season, and he said, Dane, I don't think you got this right. And I'm like, oh, well, tell me more. He's like, you just wait and see. And I even reached out to him. We've been going back and forth over the last week, and I just thanked him. There's too many people who want to get nasty real quick when they want to talk to you about where they think their team should be seated. And he was very cordial. He said, we're going to wrestle this team on this day. We're going to beat them, and then you're going to realize that you've got us too low. That's exactly the way it's supposed to work.
Confidence.
Exactly the way that it's supposed to work. And if you look at our sheet that Josh and I have been working on, there's only 6 head-to-heads amongst the 12 teams in 3A. So when you look at them, Franklin comes through that night that Adams Central wrestled Belmont, right? And they beat Columbus East 38-22. Columbus East had beaten Floyd Central. Bloomington South had an 8-point win over Roncalli. That kind of shifted Bloomington South up a little bit higher into the top 4. Lowell had a win over Hobart, and Decatur Central had a win over Plainfield. Everything else is individual tournament or whatever else. And so it's just one of those things where it's really difficult to really get too precise as to where you think these teams should be. I really do think that we have a top 4 there and then the next 4 based on the results and what's happened. And I can't wait to see how it plays out. A little bit jealous of you guys that I'm not going to be able to see 3A because I think it's going to be a great final.
Well, I know that we'll probably be trying to focus on 1A since we got 2 teams to cover, but, there might be some carryover to watch some of that 3A stuff. But I think, when we get down to 1A, Josh and I are going to look at that 1A bracket, and I think 1A is stacked up as tight as 3A is, and we'll get to that when we get to it. But I think there's going to be some great wrestling on both those levels at Franklin.
Yeah, the amount of depth here, I could see, 2 or 3 of those teams in that second tier of 5, 6, 7, and 8 seeds reaching the final. I don't think that's out of the ordinary at all. So we're going to be joined by another 3A team state coach here as we come back from this next break. We'll give Joe a second here to queue up that next spot. And when we come back, we'll be talking to Chris Cooper of Columbus East. You're listening to High School Wrestling Weekly.
Locally owned and
WZBD.
Operated by Shane Reynolds and family, DDD Maintenance and Repair is your place to go for heavy-duty truck and diesel engine repair. Located just outside of Monroe, DDD Maintenance and Repair also offers sand and glass blasting for all of your surface restoration projects. Whether you're looking to get your truck or diesel engine to run like new, or your metal restoration project to look like new, we have a blast renewing the past. Give Shane and the guys a call at 223-5442. That's DDD Maintenance and Repair. When you need high school class rings or team state rings, the man to call is Rod Williams of the Herff Jones Company. Rod can also help you seniors with all of your graduation needs. Give Rod a call at 927-0672. That's 927-0672, or like him on Facebook. Rod Williams of the Herff Jones Company is proud to help sponsor wrestling on WZBD. At Jackson Associates Financial Services in Portland, we are committed to maintaining the highest standards of integrity and professionalism in our relationship with you, our client. We endeavor to know and understand your financial situation and provide you with only the highest quality information, services, and products to help you reach your goals. Give Troy a call for the latest rates on CDs and learn about the advantages in today's financial climate to invest in your hard-earned dollar. That's Jackson Associates in Portland.
Soda House is opening their own brick-and-mortar store in the plaza next to Rural King in Decatur with a wider range of drinks including diet colas and beverages. Soda House will also sell candy and snacks and hot beverages. Featuring curbside pickup and delivery, Soda House will be open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday and as late as 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Visit Soda House and enjoy their holiday menu through the end of January.
Turn the mute off. Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. Rex Burr along with Dane Filling and Josh Gaskell. Joe Caprino is in the house as well, running the board for us. And we're getting ready to dial up our next guest here. Hello. Hey, good evening, sir. Is this Chris Cooper of Columbus East?
It is.
This is Rex Brewer and Dane Filling on the High School Wrestling Weekly from the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you guys?
We're great.
Well, Coach, we've just revealed the 3A team state bracket, and we're giving you the floor.
Excellent. You know, Coach Tante just asked how he could follow Coach Snyder. Well, let me tell you something right now, Coach Tante, Dane, and the millions and millions of wrestling fans watching online now around the world. When Coach Cooper and the Columbus East Olympian Wrestling Program hit that 12-team 3A state dual tournament, we're not sneaking in the back door. We're kicking the front door down and strutting through with gold on our minds. This isn't luck. This isn't chance. This is tradition, dedication, discipline, and blood on the mat respect, brother. This is a program built on early mornings, late nights, and a belief system so strong that when the lights come on, the 1%ers shine. Now, Bloomington, Roncalli, Franklin, and all the rest. You're tough and proud. You've earned your spot, but understand this. This is where legends are separated from contenders. 6 minutes of sweat, grit, and willpower. 12 teams enter, and only one survives. And when these Columbus East Olympians step into that circle, it's going to be cross wrist tilting, head snapping, woo, hip toss sending, heart testing warfare. This Olympian staff has got them locked in, fired up, and ready to roll because, Dane, these kids don't hope to win. They expect it. So get your straps up, double knot the laces, and say your prayers because when that whistle blows, it's going to be power, pride, and Olympian dominance. The 1%ers are coming in hot, woo, coming in confident, and they're coming to leave with everything. Styling, profiling, and championship bound. Woo!
So, Dane, when I was a kid on Saturday morning he hung up. He hung up.
He didn't even take any questions.
He hung up.
Rex, that's called a mic drop.
That's a mic drop. It was.
I don't know if we've ever had one of those.
He is. I was going to say, Dane, when I was a kid on Saturday mornings, that's when Big Time Wrestling was on. And it sounded like he used to watch a lot of Big Time Wrestling himself. But we were going to question him, but apparently he has nothing else to say. I think he said it all.
McClure, just for a second there.
That's another first down. No.
Yeah.
Hey,
Joe, any comments on that?
Oh, I just know. I just texted Nick Krause to go. You got to follow that up pretty hard. So he's already scrambling right now.
You know what though? this kind of speaks to when we first started this Coaches Association Team State. It required buy-in, right? Like all of these coaches that we talk to on all of these Sundays are completely bought into this having value. And that's really all that it takes. That's really the only thing. We've talked about this with the girls tournament before, right? Rex and I bought in early. We didn't care that it switched over to the IHSAA logo. It didn't matter to us.
It didn't matter.
For a lot of people, though, it did. Why? Because more people buy in because they think that it's legit. Coach Cooper, thinks 3A Team State's legit.
You know, if he's going to talk like a big-time wrestler, I think we should call him Christopher Columbus. That's his new wrestling stage name.
We'll call him Christopher Cooper.
Christopher Cooper Columbus.
Well, we've always invited the champions of the 4 different classes back onto the show for next Sunday's show. So I don't know if Columbus East wins. I don't know how we'll be able to top that.
He better win after that speech.
You know, after that speech, I'm excited to see what he's going to wear. You know, is he going to have a Ric Flair costume on?
Well, he'll have his orange shoes on.
There we go.
And
That's
an orange top. Now, I did tell him that Rex generally requires a burnt offering of some sort of shirt or gear.
2X.
So 2XL. Okay, Coach, 2X. I told him XL.
We picked up the hat, which is on screen.
Yeah,
thanks
so
to
that's
Hobart,
good advertising.
The Hobart Brickies, and then we picked up a Hanover Central shirt. So
let's go back into that bracket, I guess, since we didn't get a chance to actually question Coach Cooper there. Whoops, I lost it for a second on 3A. So Columbus East, they were originally at number 1 early on in the rankings, and then the loss to Franklin puts them opposite them on the other side of the bracket. You know, there's a lot of firepower in 3A from that general southern region of Indiana, south of Indianapolis, but there's also a pretty decent chunk of good wrestling and seeds coming up near the region. It's an interesting dynamic. Obviously, New Haven really the only representative from Fort Wayne. There's some good matchups there between Indy area schools and Northwest Indiana schools. I'm looking at Hobart and Roncalli, Decatur Central and Munster, right? And then potentially Lowell and Roncalli. Also looking at Floyd Central and New Haven, obviously coming from different regions as well. So I really like the way that this bracket ended up as far as separating teams from different semi-states, from different conferences, and those types of things.
These are not backyard brawls.
No, not in the first rounds for sure. So, and I thought that this might be a good time for us to review what that schedule is. The schedule has changed, and we talked about this as a committee, and this is probably way too late in the show to give a shout out to Pat Culp and to Greg Ratliff, who are also on the Team State committee with me, making decisions as far as venues and setup and that kind of thing. But we tried to eliminate, I don't know, last year when Josh and I were at Adams Central, it just felt like it was rushed a little bit, and there were teams who were leaving early, and it just felt like they were trying to get you out as soon as possible. Certainly we've had some years before where the snow has played a role in that, but they're going to go through, like I said, on these 12-team brackets, and round 1, of course, will be the first round that you see on your screen. Round 2, then, will be the quarterfinals only, because there's only going to be 4 mats this year. Round 3, then, will be the semifinals, and then the consolation semifinals, which would be the 4 teams who lost in the very first round. So your quarterfinal losers will not wrestle in round 3. Then when we get to round 4, it will be the 9th place match, the 11th place match, and I thought I had it on here, and your 5th through 8th consolation matches. Okay, and then in round 5, you'll have the 1st place match, 3rd place, 5th place, and 7th place. So that's the way that the setup. So
you said 2, 3, and 5 are the ones we'll be.
Yeah. So if you are like Coach Cooper and you think that your team's going to be wrestling in the final and you are a top 4 seed, you can expect to sit out round 1, then wrestle in round 2 and round 3, and then you'll have a break before the finals, and then they'll come back and they'll wrestle. The top 8 spots will be determined in the very final round, that 5th round. So, yeah, I don't know. I have to kind of take a deep breath and
You thought you were running this show for a
Well,
second, didn't you?
he kind of warned me, but that wasn't what I was expecting. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I love
that
it.
wasn't off the cuff. That was scripted, just like this show.
Yeah, probably. Well, why don't we take this time to give ourselves a few extra minutes in the next couple of segments, and we'll have Joe queue up the next round of ads. And when we come back, we will review that 2A bracket right after this.
The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home is honored to serve the community we love and live in. Locally owned and operated by Ryan Hershey and Eric Zelt, we understand that each family we serve and each life lived tells a unique story. Our goal is to offer comfort, care, and dignity to all who entrust their loved ones to our care. We are proud to call Adams County our home and look forward to serving you for generations to come.
You hear it all the time. Do you have the right insurance coverage? But are you really taking that question seriously? Josh Book may be stationed in his home office in Noble County, but he's ready to serve you if you're listening to this broadcast, no matter what county you're in, and help you get the best insurance for your farm, business, or home. A proud insurance agent with Farm Bureau Insurance, Josh is ready to have a conversation with you about the rates you're paying and the coverage you're getting. Give him a call and have that important conversation with an experienced Farm Bureau agent today. Find out more at infarmbureau.com.
Are you tired of the way your driveway looks? Do you think about replacing your sidewalks or adding new ones every time you walk out of the house? Call Taylor Gage Concrete in Decatur. Taylor is a proud member of the new generation of construction professionals in Adams County and has a strong reputation for good, honest concrete work, no matter the size of the project. Reliable, affordable, and dependable, Taylor Gage is your man for your next concrete project. Call TG Concrete at 223-8128 for your next sidewalk, patio, or driveway. Wygand Construction in Fort Wayne is building landmarks that impact the lives and communities we serve. At Wygand, we believe that our most important responsibility as a building contractor and construction company is to stand by our commitments to our clients and to our community. That's why we believe in supporting high school athletics, where our local teenagers show their commitments to their teammates, their coaches, their schools, and their communities. Wygand Construction. Trust. Well built.
Choosing your next furnace, heat pump, or AC unit is a difficult decision. But whether you're replacing a unit or building a new house, the guys at Rorick Electric can help. They carry decades of experience, and they're licensed dealers for both Armstrong and Duquesne. Rorick Electric Heating and Air is also able to help you with any residential or agricultural project in the Decatur area. Stick with the local experts you can trust. Rorick Electric Heating and Air.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for another segment of the High School Wrestling Weekly, hosted here at the Double Eagle, and Rex Brewer along with Dane Filling and Josh Gaskell, along with Joe Caprino running the board for us. And it makes our job easy tonight when Joe runs all the commercials, runs everything. And
yeah,
we just set up and kick back.
And a lot of hard work went into it. I want to give Josh a shout out for all the work that he put into the seating committee. And a lot of times it's like, I need another set of eyes to look over this and just tell me, what am I missing here? What should I be looking at? What's not on there? And a shout out to Mike Reiser and to Eric Myers, AJ Bradley, Greg Ratliff, and Jimmy Ward, who all helped this year with the team state seating committee. It's a fun. It's a little bit fraught at the end as we try to make sure that we get it right, that we're not missing anything. And I would just maybe put in a plug, and I know Josh shares this sentiment, and Joe shares it also. There's some teams out here who probably aren't going to be satisfied with their seeds. A lot of that is because we don't have your results. And a lot of it, maybe it got posted late, or maybe you didn't post your individual results at all on most of your dual meets. And a lot of conversations come in like, hey, why aren't we here? It's like, I want to know what happened in this match. I want to know who wrestled. Why did you give up 24 points when the teams you're competing against only gave up 18 or 12? And if you don't put that stuff out there, it makes it really, really difficult for us to gauge where you are. And that's just the simple reality.
It's not like Joe didn't give him the opportunity, every available opportunity to input that information.
Yeah. So sometimes that makes it awfully difficult. So we are going to be joined later on in the next segment by the head coach of our number one seed in 2A, but it's going to be the Garrett Railroaders and the Fighting E-Daddies, as Rex likes to call them. And they had a great tournament. They have looked tough all year. they have systematically over the last 4 or 5 years just continued to build up their schedule, culminating a couple weeks ago in that dual meet against Brownsburg. That says a lot about the goals that they have as a program. And they very much have been a school that has embraced Team State and wanted to make that one of their ultimate goals, right, for the season. Of course, everybody wants to win the IHSAA Team State title, but these Coaches Association team titles means a lot to a lot of programs, and Garrett's definitely one of those. So Garrett's your number 1 seed, and I think 2A is one of those classes where we talk about having a top 4, the next 4, and then our unseeded teams, and so that'll show up here. But anyway, to the bracket, Garrett will be sitting around waiting in round 1 for the winner of Bishop Chatard and Griffith. And we talked to the Griffith coach on our last Teams In show. We've talked to Coach Spengel. Those are 2 programs that are also really, really excited to get to compete in 2A Team State. Whether or not they have enough to make a dent in Garrett's lineup, I don't know. But that is one of the really cool things as we've talked to coaches. There are some coaches like, we could never compete with the top 2 or 3 in our class. I don't even want to consider it. Other teams are pumped. Like, get me into that 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th place little mini bracket, and let's go to town with 2 more good duels. And that's really what it should be all about. Getting into this tournament, the way the tournament goes. I don't know if Joe remembers, was it the very first year or the very first 2 years where we sent teams home once they lost? There was like no losers bracket. Do you remember that at Westfield, or it wasn't a full losers bracket?
Yeah, Westfield was always a full losers bracket. Semifinals dropped down, but after that, when they expanded to
12, we originally we didn't give the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th place teams any matches once they lost twice.
They would wrestle 1 consolation bracket match, and then the 9th and 11th place matches weren't wrestled.
Yeah, and it just became more apparent that if teams are going to take up 2 spots in or 2 points in their lineup when it comes to their scheduling points, that you might as well get them. You're not going to find a better grouping of schools your size and your talent than when you get into those. Whether you're wrestling in the 5th through 8th place mini bracket or in the semifinals or 9th through 12th, those are often some of the very best duels rather than in the 1st and 2nd round. So anyways, your number 5 seed is going to be Heritage Hills, and they'll take on Yorktown, and it will be New Prairie awaiting them in the quarterfinals. Locally here, Belmont, the number 3 seed, and they will await the winner of Jay County and Owen Valley. So kind of a contrast there for the Braves. Very familiar with Jay County, having spent 25 years in the same sectional as them, but very little known for the Belmont Braves when it comes to Owen Valley. And so some research definitely needed there for the Belmont coaching staff. And then in the bottom quarter bracket, number 7 Delta will take on Gibson Southern, and they'll take on the winner of that one will take on Hanover Central at number 2. Thoughts there, boys? Who wants to go first?
I think there's some really good teams there. I think there are going to be some really close matches. I don't think there's going to be a lot of blowouts in any of those.
Yeah, I agree. Garrett looks tough. They're kind of stepping out when they wrestled Brownsburg. That was huge. They've got bigger goals. They want to win a state title in 2A, but they're putting up them with the best in the state. And so some of these teams really jump out. Belmont's tough. Hanover Central, it's good to see them here. Delta has got a lot of hammers. Can you rally your troops for a team title?
They got a lot of hammers and a lot of holes.
Yeah. There's going to be, there are going to be teams looking at Delta as a potential opponent, and they're immediately going to chalk up 5 matches as, we're not going to win those.
Yeah.
And that makes the math sometimes really, really tough when you have to win 8 of the other 9, correct? And they're just one of those teams. And there are teams who are solid all the way through. There's teams that have some spots where kids have struggled to sort of make inroads and be, when we're talking about 2A, we're talking about a lot of teams. The really good teams will take, 8, 9 to semi-state for the most part. It depends on what semi-state that you're in, obviously. But Delta's a team who they just had 5 champs, correct, at their holiday tournament, and finished in, I think, 3rd or 4th place with that. So that's definitely an interesting and compelling matchup if they get past Gibson Southern to take on Hanover Central. We were blessed with a great visit from Coach Bradbury up in the Crow's Nest. He was very gracious. He came up to us, talked to us about the show and Hanover Central. He said that they have really branched out as to where they've been going. And he said their visit to Jay County opened up a whole new corner of Indiana to him. That he had never been to that side of the state, hadn't wrestled a lot of the teams on the sort of the east and central side of Indianapolis and those types of things. And that's really one of the cool things about Team State, in my opinion, is crossing over and seeing some new programs. There's a lot of kids on these teams that don't even know that these other schools exist until they see these brackets.
And that's what we've seen the last couple of years is the same 12 teams have not been in it every year. And this year there's probably 4 or 5 teams in here that a lot of people don't know anything about that they're going to get to see for the first time.
Yeah, and there were a lot of teams who really felt that they should have been in at 2A. There's some teams who felt left out that would have very happily taken the spot of the unseeded teams that are in there and felt that even though maybe they're the 13th best team or 14th best team in 2A, that they could compete with the 8 seed, the 7 seed, and those types of things. So definitely a really good class of teams. I do really think, though, that the top 4 set themselves apart throughout the year. And we had a lot of discussion on the committee about where to go with those top 4. It was really interesting that all 4 ended up at the Al Smith, and that's just kind of the way that it went. We didn't necessarily base the seeds off of the team scores that came out of there, but it definitely, I think, reinforced where we were as far as where the seeds were, and it definitely allowed us to get a little bit more context as to setting the Belmont lineup against the New Prairie lineup or the Hanover Central lineup against the Garrett lineup. But in the end, and Coach Bradbury admitted this, he said, I don't think it matters how you seed them. Take those top 4, put them in the bracket, put them in the semis, and let's do it. And I think that's the right attitude, right? I don't think any coach should be talking to their team on Monday about how they were slighted on this seed or whatever. Like, focus on who you've got in the second round. If you're a top 4 seed, you have the advantage of being able to sit there and watch the opponent that you're about to wrestle. They will have never seen you wrestle potentially, but you're going to have that advantage. So we're going to take another break here, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to Coach Nick Krause of the number 1 seed Garrett Railroaders.
Who's working on it here? We'll get there in a second.
Around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities,
We'll just sit here and talk about the Double Eagle Class Grill food for a few seconds.
Work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and
I went with the
motorcycles.
Tots as my side.
Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for Renowned around the Midwest for his skills and his creative abilities, Nate Bowers and the team at Bowers Paint Studio in Decatur work with a wide range of clients, from collision repair to custom paint jobs for classic cars and motorcycles. Located on Monroe Street on the west side of Decatur, Bowers is your place for body work too, whether it's getting your ride back on the road or finally getting that classic car, the paint job you've always wanted. Stop by or give Nate a call to put the best in the business to work for you.
If you're serious about taking your wrestling to the next level, then Warrior RTC Wrestling Club is the place to be. Every Sunday at 4:30 and Wednesday at 6, boys and girls from different elementary, middle, and high schools come together to build skills, confidence, and lifelong friendships. With high-level experienced coaches and a positive training atmosphere, every Warrior learns to work hard and have fun doing it. Whether you're chasing your first medal or your next state title, Warrior RTC will help you in your relentless pursuit of self-improvement. Visit online at warriorrtc.com to learn more about the year-round wrestling opportunities and train like a champion.
Hello, I'm Dan Book, an agribusiness banker at First Bank of Bern. We take pride in providing your agriculture operation with expert advice tailored to Adams County. Our commitment to making banking easy drives us to offer a comprehensive range of agribusiness banking solutions, including loans, lines of credit, operating accounts, farm financial consulting, crop insurance, and more. With our team's deep local insights, knowledge, and expertise, we are equipped to support the growth of your operation. You can count on an expert in local decision-making when you need it. Give me a call to discover how First Bank of Bern can empower your operation to thrive. First Bank of Bern, member FDIC, equal opportunity lender.
Hello, this is Joel. from your local hometown Packaged Liquors. Packaged Liquors provides the best selection of domestic, import, and craft beers in Z-Lane. With locations in Decatur, Monroe, Bern, and Markle, you're always just a short drive away from picking up the perfect last-minute gift or just the right six-pack to watch the game with friends. You're never a stranger when you walk through the doors, and our smiling staff never has a problem giving you a recommendation when you're not sure what it is you need. Stop in at one of our 4 locations and see what hometown service looks like. Packaged Liquors, it's where your friends shop.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for our next segment. We are calling third period A, and I do have the phone number dialed up here of a gentleman that I spent some time talking to on Saturday, and let's give him a ring here. Hello, Yee Daddy. This is Rex Burr with High School Wrestling Weekly. How are you tonight? So before we get into it, how did you get the handle Yee Daddy? Tell me that, will you, Coach Krause? Well, thanks for the insight, because, you know, you and I talk a lot on Guerrilla Radio, have some chats back and forth, and I always come up and think, why is he Yee Daddy? But I know now.
Well, Coach, Dane Filling here. Congratulations on the number 1 seed, and I hope you were listening to the last segment when we sang your praises, as you've really built up your schedule. You've built your program really in the first half of the season, at least over the last couple of years, towards 2A team state, and really made it a goal and something for your kids to shoot for.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, going to wrestle, you guys want to win an individual state as well. So a lot of the time it runs through them.
Tell us a little bit about your Al Smith and how things went for you there, and how you're going to use that to prep here this week in preparation for team state.
Well, we watched a lot of film, and I watched a lot of film today. I seen some spots where we're making mistakes, so that's on the practice plan for Monday. We had some kids wrestle pretty well. Some weren't quite where they needed to be, but weren't too far off, so we just got to tweak some stuff. Really what it comes down to.
Yeah, for sure. And tell us a little bit about, like, program-wise, not necessarily takedowns and tactics, but your parents, your youth club, your school administrators, what do you tell them about team state to get them excited and to get them to follow along on Saturday?
Well, it's just like it's our best chance to win a state championship. I mean, in order to win an IHSA state championship, you've got to go through Brownsburg, Center Grove, Crown Point, Mater Dei, and, you know, a host of other teams. And with us only having 500 and some kids in the school, it's a little tougher to win the IHSA state championship as a team. So, and we know that all the schools that go to team state, they're just as excited as we are. They look forward to it. I've seen the celebrations. I've been on the good end and on the bad end of it, and it's just really fun.
Well, one of the things that I thought was really interesting about seeding 2A was, of the 12 teams that were involved, Coach, there were basically no head-to-heads on a dual meet format between them, and that sort of adds some intrigue as far as matchups. I know you, as a coach who likes to look at lineups and look at different moves, I think you would enjoy having wrestled all the 11 other teams once before you head into the team state, but that's not really the way it works.
I mean, I'm sure other schools probably have the same thing, but like, we're kind of locked into our NECC schedule where we can't avoid some of those because of the bylaws. So we don't have as much freedom. And then the schools we wrestle outside of that, we wrestle New Haven, DeKalb, Brownsburg. Those are the ones that happen before team state. So just kind of the way it is, I guess.
Yeah, just to cue everybody in, the only 3 head-to-heads that happened in 2A was a win for New Prairie over Griffith, a win for Jay County over Delta, which we kind of threw out because Delta all of their studs, and then a win for Jay County over Yorktown. Jay County and Yorktown both end up unseeded anyway, so really nothing to separate head-to-head any of the top 8 teams, and that just sort of adds that extra layer of intrigue once you look at this bracket.
Oh, yeah. Nope. I know. We know. There's going to be somebody shows up that they're just going to be better than everybody thought, and that's how it works, and that's what's kind of fun about it. You got to wrestle the matches. So,
Coach, we also owe you an apology as we put you on after Coach Cooper and put you in a tough spot as far as what your expectations were as a guest.
Let me tell you something, brother. Say your prayers, eat your vitamins. 2A, what you gonna do when Railroader Mania runs wild on you?
There, you get it right now. Oh, mic drop again. There we go.
Was that pre-recorded?
I don't know. I didn't. He's mic dropped us.
He went fully into.
He dropped it. Man.
Well, I was going to ask a Mike Poppy question, but I didn't get a chance to.
Well, you have to text him that. But we've had 2 mic drops tonight as an all-time. We've never had that before in a while.
I'm excited. Once again, I think that as you talk to a lot of these teams that are involved in 2A, not that this is any indictment on anything for 3A and 4A. I just think as we get lower in school size, the more it means to some of these programs.
I thought you were going to say more shenanigans we have.
Oh, no. Well, that might also be true. But I just think these teams really have embraced the tournament, and they really love it. And, we go all the way back, and I'm sure Joe can speak to this. When the Coaches Association first started the project, they went in with Coach McCormick's sort of mantra of creating something that the IHSAA could one day adopt. And then it became very apparent that it wasn't going to happen anytime soon. And then the Coaches Association listened to their membership and did some expanding. They expanded the field. They had late vote-ins. They added the 3A class and split 3A into 3A and 4A. But I think as we get further into it now, you start to look at what the IHSAA has done in various other sports, and you start to wonder, like, at what point is the IHSAA going to listen to this show, watch the results, look at the ticket sales numbers, ask some questions, and say, these teams really do get excited for this type of tournament. Is this something that we could bring back? Because I don't think that you can deny that when the IHSAA dropped the team state, we talked to Coach Gable and Coach Farrow a couple weeks ago when you were here, Joe, that it was with reluctance in a lot of ways. You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, it was. I was a part of some of the back channel emails, and Coach Schneider was really big into this, and he was one that behind the scenes was really pushing for the right event, structured the right way. Originally, the coaches were like, "Oh, we'll just have some kind of invitational. We'll invite 6 teams and call you guys the class or the state champions," and that was pushed back really hard by Coach Schneider and some other coaches that really said, "Hey, we need something good. We need classes. We need 3 classes is great. Do this, and they listened. Only 8 teams the first year. They were trying to do little things that kind of got corrected, and it's expanded to a great event right now. 12 teams is about the perfect number. There's not any fluff in any of the classes. 8 teams in 4A when they split there. And got a little bit of pushback, but I think that's been a great addition. Adding 4 teams, making 3A 12 teams has been great. That was a nice. I mean, the Coach Association the week before the vote, switching from 8 to 12 there. Greg Ratliff and you guys and whoever else was involved in that. I know that caused some gray hairs, but it was what's right for the event, and they've never shied away from doing what's right for the event and what's best for the kids and what's best for the teams and coaches. And that's what's made it such a great event, and that's why the coaches are buying in. That's why the coaches are lobbying really hard to get their teams into the event. They want an invite, and then they want to build upon that for the next couple years. And I know it's a big thing to a lot of schools.
Well, no, Joe, we had a conversation with Robert Falcons on Saturday, and he opened up the door. He said, "We will entertain anything the coaches ask for. If the coaches don't ask for it, we're not going to entertain it." Because I asked him about running a full 2-minute first period in that regional consolation match, and he goes, "They got to ask for it." So this is another thing. If the coaches think that they want the IHSAA to take it back over, ask for it.
Yeah.
All you can say is no, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, when you put it in their hands, there's a little bit more restrictions. I know one of the biggest things I I would be worried about the IGSA taking over. The way we do the classes for the team state is very different than any of the other classes for the IHSAA. So I really like the way that they split them with the 4A, 3A, 1A, and 2A. So that would have to take some big bylaw changes,
Yeah,
which scare me.
People probably don't realize how different those classes would look, as a large chunk of what would be the 1A teams don't have enough to compete in a dual setting.
They could prohibit.
If you
those
look
3As
at
from
if
going
you
forward.
go on Indiana Mat and you look at the enrollment numbers of the different classes for this year's team state, even if you took the 8 or 9 biggest schools in 1A and put them in 2A where they belong, you'd lose half of your field in 1A. Some of the very best teams in 1A are on the cusp of being at 2A, and it's very, very close. And don't forget that we eliminate any team that didn't have at least 8 wrestlers in last year's varsity lineup for sectionals. So that definitely is one point to make as we talk about that topic. Well, we're going to line up another set of advertisements, and when we come back, we will reveal our final bracket for Saturday's Team State Tournament.
Established in 2018 and owned and operated by Kirby and Chastity Harkless, 4GND stands for Four Girls and Dad, a fully licensed and insured general contractor serving the greater Decatur area. They can take care of your commercial needs from architectural engineering and design, state release, all the way to completion. They also specialize in new homes, new barns, remodels, additions, kitchens, and baths. They might not be a familiar name, but Four Girls and Dad are built on years of experience working in the architectural world and hands-on construction.
For some of us, summer is the busiest time of year, and we don't always have the time to get the yard looking just the way we like it. That's where Archbold Landscaping comes in. Working hard and growing his business in Adams and surrounding counties, Dan Archbold can take care of all of your mowing and landscaping needs. It doesn't matter if you're in town or out in the country. Dan and his team can mow while you're away, or they can lay down your mulch while you're at work. Interested in pouring a new patio? Check out some of the work Dan has done in recent months and send him an email or a message about what you have in mind. Allow Archbold Landscaping to go to work for you. When you need high school class rings or team state rings, the man to call is Rod Williams of the Herff Jones Company. Rod can also help you seniors with all of your graduation needs. Give Rod a call at 927-0672. That's 927-0672, or like him on Facebook. Rod Williams of the Herff Jones Company is proud to help sponsor wrestling on WZBD.
Soda House is opening their own brick-and-mortar store in the plaza next to Rural King in Decatur with a wider range of drinks, including diet colas and beverages. Soda House will also sell candy and snacks and hot beverages. Featuring curbside pickup and delivery, Soda House will be open 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Thursday and as late as 10 p.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Visit Soda House and enjoy their holiday menu through the end of January.
Welcome back to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for our next segment here on the High School Wrestling Weekly. And Dane, I've been working on a little WZBD trophy. Joe's got the Grill Award. I got a little Z trophy in the works here. Just to try and compete with Joe a little bit.
That's
Joe,
exciting.
Your awards you gave out at the Al Smith were impressive. That was a nice little trophy you had.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Just kind of something I put together, and it worked out pretty good. And the kids that got them were pretty excited to get them. So,
well, I've got a son-in-law that's got a 3D printer, and he just wants to 3D print anything he can find. So I threw it out there, and he came up with a design, and it's in the works right now.
What do they say about imitation and flattery and all those types of things?
Best form of flattery.
Well, we're certainly thankful for Joe's work tonight on getting the graphics set up and coming down here and having a good time. And just the conversations at the table is really what it's all about. Make sure that if you have time on these subsequent Sundays here throughout the rest of the season, that you come and hang out with us at the Double Eagle. Don't forget our special shows ahead of the girls' state finals here in 2 weeks and the boys' state finals after that as well. And
I'm finally glad that the judge has made it in person. There it is.
He's got his brand new Al Smith classic shirt, which he picked up. Anything from a cuz.
For the cuz.
So, without further ado, let's get into that 1A team state bracket. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Let's go. Your number 1 seed is going to be the Southmont Mounties. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm going totally off the top of my head here. Southmont will be the number 1 seed, and they will take on the winner of the Milan Indians and the Rensselaer Central Bombers. And tell you what, Rensselaer is an interesting team. They have been sort of, I wouldn't say up and down, but they had some really interesting results in the last couple of weeks that sort of solidified them as one of the top 8 seeds. So that's a team to watch out for. As I pull up my 1A, I want to make sure that I tell you correct. Yeah, Rensselaer had a big win over the Brickies of Hobart just a couple weeks ago, 40-36, and Southmont really hung their hats. I guess it's a testament to Coach Johansson's team when you beat a team that's in 3A, and this is something that we've talked about before on the show too, right? Like, once you are a team state team, then that carries value. Not so much for the 1A teams because they're the lowest division, but when the 1A team picks off a 2A team, that immediately is a feather in the cap where you say that's worth noting for. And obviously, anytime a 1A team can knock off a 3A team, that's huge. And the very rare occasions where a 1A team has ever beaten a 4A team when it comes to the team state. And if they did, they'd likely be the number 1 or the number 2 seed, right? So it is funny how the classes interact. And then especially when we add, like when somebody like Hobart comes in and gets voted in as one of the top 12 teams in 3A, and then a 1A team picks up a win against them, that really, to me, says a lot about where they go. So Southmont, of course, competing at the Trade-Off, those types of things, very impressive for them. And then as we move further down, Alexandria will be the number 5 seed, and they will take on the South Adams Starfires. And once again, we don't seed all the way down 1 through 12. We only do 1 through 8. And so South Adams drawn randomly into Alexandria with the potential for a rematch against Adams Central coming in there after that. Josh, any comment on that one? That's kind of right down your alley.
Yeah, I think that was a match last year that happened first round. I talked to the Alexandria coach last year before the duel, and he said, you guys better watch out for us. And I didn't have a dog in the fight other than being from Adams County, cheering on Adams Central and South Adams. But he said, we're pretty good. And I followed along at the ECIC, and they showed that they're pretty good. That's an individual tournament at Jay County, and they finished first. To believe South Adams was maybe second. With Jay County, they blew Jay County and South Adams out of the that'll be an interesting matchup. It's just neat. 1A and 2A are different than any of the other classes. I know, the last couple of years, just being from Adams County, you're cheering on a guy from Adams Central that's got a 500 record. We keep going back to, but that guy might be the most important guy in your lineup. All these teams have guys that are going to place at the state tournament. And even like Garrett's coach said, it's hard to get a state champ. You just don't have some of the bodies that Brownsburg does, and that's based off of just enrollment. But can we win a state title? And you're rallying a guy that's got a 500 record, to help you win a state title. And so 1A is always a fun thing to watch and fun thing to broadcast. It'll be really interesting. I think there's 5 teams in 1A. I would not be shocked if they win it. And then there's a lot of hammers on the teams that didn't even get seeded. The draw-ins and the 5 through 8. There's a lot of guys that are going to be on the podium at the state tournament. So some of these guys get the opportunity to wrestle against that.
Kind of interesting if things would have played out differently. I actually had Alexandria ahead of Adams Central for several weeks based on one of the comments with Bluffton and scoring margin and that kind of thing. Alexandria drops a match to New Haven, who Adams Central had beaten twice, and that flip-flops Adams Central and Alex from the 4 and the 5. Otherwise, we would have had an Adams Central South Adams match in the very first round of Team State, which would have been quite a spectacle for sure. As we move down to the bottom half of the bracket, defending champions North Miami come in at number 3, one of the protected top 4 seeds in the Team State. They'll await the winner of Madison Grant and number 6 East Side. And I'll openly admit, East Side wrestled Belmont early on in the season at Goshen, and I I wasn't all that impressed. Just the way that it happened. And I actually had some conversation. I said, man, I kind of expected more from Eastside, but I tried not to let that give too much weight into my deliberations. And as I saw them get through those NECC duels and some other results, I thought, boy, that team's not the team that wrestled Belmont at the beginning, and they really impressed me. And so they slowly crept their way up in my team rankings as the season went on. And so they come in at number 6. And then in the bottom quarter bracket, it will be Northfield, who's wrestled a really tough schedule, in my opinion. They'll take on Rossville, and the winner will await Rochester. We probably don't even need to talk about Rossville. We've talked about it ad nauseum for so long. But they are another one of those top-heavy teams. They carry several forfeits. We had them on WZBD on the 31st, but those hammers are tough. We're talking about guys, they could potentially have 4 state medalists, I think.
Yeah.
And they may be the only 1A team who could say that.
Yeah, and the 1A team is interesting. Rex, you're going to have to watch it. When you get to start a duel, they do the flip, and a lot of people don't even understand the coin flip for odds and evens, and it plays such a huge key.
Oh, yeah.
I remember a couple years ago, South Adams against Bluffton, and I look at him, I said, if we get the flip, we're going to win. We have the moves that we can make, and that's what it comes down. When you have hammers, Adams Central's got 3 or 4 guys in a row that are going to be, maybe on the podium at the state finals. And so when they get the flip, it's like, man, we can't do a whole lot around that.
But that's where Rossville's hammers are at,
Yeah,
too. I mean, so that's really going to be touchy there in the middle, because sometimes you can't miss a hammer.
Yeah.
You can do all the jockeying you want, and you're going to go right into a guy, and it's like, okay, if you do, even if you have your choice, you're got to wrestle him someplace.
Yeah, and I think this might be the first year that I can remember. I'm looking at the top 4 or 5 teams, and I'm going to see a lot of guys on the podium down in Indianapolis, or at least I think so. Rochester's going to have a handful. Rossville is not seeded, but they're going to have a handful. Adams Central, North Miami, they're loaded, and it's a different 1A than I think I've seen in the past. So it'll be really interesting to watch, and they pack out an arena. So I'm glad that Tante said maybe we'll be in the big gym. Makes it way more enjoyable to watch, and they really do pack out an arena.
Well, guys, we've had a look at all 4 brackets. We'll play one last round of messages, and we'll try to wrap up our thoughts as we get set for a big week of high school wrestling here on WZBD.
Are you tired of the way your driveway looks? Do you think about replacing your sidewalks or adding new ones every time you walk out of the house? Call Taylor Gage Concrete in Decatur. Taylor is a proud member of the new generation of construction professionals in Adams County and has a strong reputation for good, honest concrete work, no matter the size of the project. Reliable, affordable, and dependable, Taylor Gage is your man for your next concrete project. Call TG Concrete at 223-8128 for your next sidewalk, patio, or driveway. Wygand Construction in Fort Wayne is building landmarks that impact the lives and communities we serve. At Wygand, we believe that our most important responsibility as a building contractor and construction company is to stand by our commitments to our clients and to our community. That's why we believe in supporting high school athletics, where our local teenagers show their commitments to their teammates, their coaches, their schools, and their communities. Wygand Construction. Trust. Well built. Based out of the Indiana Tech Wrestling Facility, the Warrior Regional Training Center is an elite training center for youth wrestlers, high school wrestlers, and college and senior level athletes. Featuring a college coaching staff with a strong history of developing talent and producing results, Warrior RTC will give any wrestler quality training partners to push them to new levels in the state-of-the-art 25,000 square foot wrestling building. The training is affordable and private training is also available. Put Warrior RTC in your corner this season.
When faced with the difficult task of making arrangements for your loved one, many emotions and questions arise. What would they want me to do if they were here? Where is the money coming from? How much should I spend? Do they want burial or cremation? The staff at Haggard, Hershey, and Zelt Funeral Home can help you navigate these tough questions. Make your wishes known and allow us to make sure that your wishes are carried out. Call Ryan Hershey or Eric Zelt at 260-724-7167 to schedule an appointment today.
Welcome back once again to the Double Eagle Clubhouse Grill for our final segment here on this week's High School Wrestling Weekly. And Dane, it's been a jam-packed show full of bracket reveals, big-time wrestling speeches, mic drops, return of the judge,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that we would love to be able to talk to all 44 teams and their coaches as they get hyped up for what is to come on Saturday. We only have time for a few. We want to thank all of our sponsors who have helped us on the broadcast side of things, on the show side of things, and especially for Team State coming up here. It's been a lot of fun. We want to give a shout out to Lenny Razzo, who's always helping us out, building up, drumming up support, and getting behind the Belmont program. We want to give a shout out to Brad Weber and his family, longtime supporters of this show. And just reach out to the station if you want to throw your message behind our airtime and the coverage that we provide for local wrestling teams or basketball or whatever it is. That's really what it's all about, and we love doing it. We're really looking forward to the week that is to come. Join us on Tuesday on YouTube for 2 great duels, and then get excited for Saturday. We will try our best to take a deep breath on Sunday next week and talk about 1A, 2A. We'll talk about ticket round matches at the local girls regionals, and then we'll take a long look at the girls state brackets. I'm trying to remember. Were they out last year on Sunday, the girls brackets, Joe?
I think they were.
I was thinking that we looked at them.
The regional brackets came out Saturday sometime.
So we should
afternoon. So I think
we should have time. So join us on Sunday, January 11th at 6:30 here from the Double Eagle, as we'll talk a lot of girls state wrestling as well. And then the following week, we've got wrestling at the old Belmont High School. Muncie Central comes to town, and that'll be a great reunion for lots and lots of Belmont fans. We always love when we're in the same place as Coach AJ Bradley as well, and we're looking forward to that one. And then we also have the Yorktown and Belmont match on Thursday the 15th as well, before we get ready for the girls' state finals on the 16th. Am I just going to have a sleepover on the couch after the Thursday match? Or
I don't know.
Now, I have to admit, Rex will be embarrassed that I tell him this story, but I think it was last year or 2 years ago. We get on the car. It was about 4 a.m. I got my coffee, and we're zooming down 224. And a gentleman with lights on top of his car pulls us over in Wells County. And Rex simply just said, yeah, we're broadcasting the state finals, and we're just a little anxious to get going. And they let us off the hook.
He says, do you have any idea how fast you're going? I said, we were talking wrestling. You think I paid any attention to the speed? And he goes, okay, let me see that. He comes back. Yeah, slow down. And away we went. We parked in a well-done parking lot about 4:30 in the morning, but we're on the way. And he goes, well, we got that out of the way now. We got a long way to go. So
it will be a lot of fun, and we're really looking forward to telling the stories of these girls. If you get a chance, tune in on Saturday. Check out the articles on WZBD.com. Listen to the sports reports on the air throughout that time as well, and obviously on our show on Sunday. Well, guys,
sounds good.
Thanks to all of our call-in guests. A special thank you to everybody who's here in the crowd tonight. A big thank you to Josh Gaskell, a valued member of our team, and certainly a valued member of the Z team as well in Joe Caprino.
That'll do it for another episode of the High School Wrestling Weekly here on WZBD.